We should be live. Welcome everybody to another live stream repair. We've got two HomePods in today with some pretty standard issues. First one up comes from Ray with no power, and then we'll move on to Hoang with death farts. So let's jump right into it. Go ahead and check our symptoms here. Plug it into some power. And sure enough, we see no response on the HomePod and about 4 watts of power draw at the wall. So based on that, we can surmise a guess here that we've probably got the same failure as most of these no power HomePods, being a shorted diode on the amplifier. I can usually guess what's wrong with the no power pods based on that power draw there. If you go to my website, nixfix.com, and then head over to the common issues for the no power ones, I've got a rough estimate of what power draw happens for each of those no power issues. But let's go ahead and crack this open, see if we're right. Flawless. Interesting, that wasn't locked down all the way. Okay. So typically I go for the big fat flathead for the pry, but I recently got these non-marring pry tools that are usually used for automotive applications, pulling trim pieces off and such, off Amazon, and I'm curious if any of these are strong enough to do what I need to do here. See, they're too thick. And if I try to pry with them, they bend. Yeah, well, it was worth a shot. This one might. Nah, let's see. And that pushes up against the rubber. Yep. It's always going to go back to the tried and true big fat flathead, isn't it? That's okay. There we go. Easy peasy. These will be useful for stuff like this at least. Woofer check. Voice coil looks good. Feels nice and smooth. Smells good. Smells like a happy subwoofer. This is what we're all here for. This bad boy. Let's do a quick visual inspection here. Our diode here has a date code of 1748K, so if you've been watching long enough, I don't think you'll be surprised by that or what we're about to find. Everything else looks all right though. So let's go ahead and test that suspect diode. Yes, sirree. That diode is shorted out. Let's get it replaced with a new one. See if we can't get this board powering on. That'll do, donkey. Hey Mars, welcome to the chat. Is it possible to use an iPod Touch 3rd or 4th generation to set up a HomePod? That is a good question. So let me think here. This is running iOS 11, I believe. We'll go ahead and charge this up just so I can double check that. Well, let's see here. So the box says requires iPhone 5S or later, iPad Pro, iPad Air or later, iPad Mini 2 or later, or iPod Touch 6th generation. And then it says with the latest version of iOS. So, iPod Touch third. I think I actually have a couple of 3rd and 4th gen iPod Touches. I'll go ahead and give it a shot. But I'm gonna go ahead and hazard a guess that you need at least the 6th gen that the box says. The 4th gen iPod Touch only goes up to iOS 6, it looks like. So, yeah, that's, iOS 6 was released in 2012, which is still like 6 years prior to the HomePod even being announced. So, that would make sense. No chance that the 4th or 3rd gen would be able to set it up, though. That's unfortunate. It must have a lot to do with the Bluetooth hardware that it has, too. The older one probably doesn't have what it takes. But obviously, with iOS 6 being the last supported version of iOS for the 4th gen iPod Touch, it has no support for HomePods built into the code 6 years prior to it being announced. Well, let's see if this works. Yeah, it works. Cool, so the base works, and our DC offset is well within spec at around 3 to 4 volts, or 3 to 4 millivolts, sorry. Oh boy. God forbid we had 3 to 4 volts of offset that quickly. But this board is right and happy now. Let's get their HomePod put back together. Give me that back. Yeah. Hey man, welcome to the chat. Glad you could drop by. Hello, hello. All right. Let's see what we got. Drum roll, please.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Very good.
I'm having
and very good. Everything checks out for Ray's HomePod with no power. We now have power. We'll go ahead and set that to the side and change our text on the screen for our next repair from Hoang, I think is how you would say that. so much private information. Get out of here. There we go. Okay. Let's get rid of that power cable. Won't be needing that. We actually never use the power cable that gets sent in with people's HomePods if they do send them in with it. In the event there are no power issues caused by their power cable, our known good working power cable that we always use for our testing will quickly reveal that. But we're well past 300 HomePod repairs here, and we haven't seen a cable become or be the cause of any faults yet. So let's see what we've got with Hoang's HomePod here. We're going to go ahead and plug it into power and boot it up. And so they report that they've got death farts. So death farts occur, well, hold on. Death farts is basically this sort of loud buzzing sound followed by an unexpected restart of your HomePod. And these will occur when your filtering capacitors on the amplifier go so bad that they allow enough DC voltage through the amp and into your speaker. The amp will detect when that DC offset grows past, I think it's around 300 millivolts to 3 volts DC. It'll see that and it'll force that death fart sound and restart. So based on that, we can power on the HomePod, and without taking it apart, we can go ahead and confirm if that's what's going on by listening for how loud of a pop it makes when we wake this up for the first time. And I don't know if you caught that before Siri started going off on her little rant there, but we had a pretty significant pop coming from that. And then again, when we unplug it from power, now that it's not in standby mode, we should hear another pop. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and hazard a guess here that we've got about 300 millivolts of DC offset on a cold boot here. And that probably grows to around 2 or 3 volts before the amp triggers those death farts that they're experiencing. Let's go ahead and take this apart, get it put together on the bench here, and confirm our guesses. Hello, HTPC. Alright. Display came off without a hitch. Or actually, should I say the top touch cover. This here is our actual display. Good, yeah. Yeah, have those parts on hand just in case they disappear before you actually need to use them. Woofer check. Voice coil looks nice and happy. Feels nice and happy. And it smells nice and happy. Okay. Before we attempt any repairs on this, we're going to go ahead and power this amplifier on so we can confirm what we believe to be too much DC offset causing our death farts here. Yeah, my rule of thumb, as always, is the popping alone isn't a cause for concern, and in general, the amplifier will start death farting before the DC offset gets to a point where it can immediately cause damage. Now, if it starts death farting and you ignore it and continue to use it, that's definitely where the DC offset is at the point where it can cause damage long term or potentially short term. But in general, the popping alone isn't necessarily a sign that the DC offset is out of spec per se. So let's see here. And that's what I tell people who are asking about sending those ones in for repair. I just tell them don't worry about it unless you experience issues other than the popping, because even after replacing those capacitors, you'll still end up probably with a little bit of a pop here and there. It's just inevitable. It's part of these things' life. Can't get rid of it all, but you can do your best to filter most of it out. So let's power this up. Oh, so we're past 200 millivolts, which means we're going to have to jump up to the 2-volt scale on the meter here. That's why it says 1, because it's past its current scale. Oh, goody. Oh, goodness. 700 millivolts and quickly growing. So that's certainly enough to have an impact on performance, potentially cook things over time, and as you can see here, it's probably going to grow very soon to that 2 to 3 volt threshold where it'll trigger those death farts. I've got a few live streams of us demonstrating death farts for you guys. I've been needing to make like some sort of short for it, highlighting those so you guys can see that. So the plan of action here is, of course, to correct that excess DC offset that's getting through. To do that, we are going to replace our 4 filtering capacitors on the back of the board right here. These 4 guys. So these are responsible for filtering that DC offset from the board. And as they go bad, they allow more of that DC through until you get your death farts. And so we're going to go ahead and replace those. And then before we give this a test, we're going to replace this Schottky barrier diode here, completely unrelated to our death farts issue here. But we replace that diode in all of our repairs, regardless of the date code that it's got or its condition, just to hopefully prevent that most common no power issue from occurring. Alright, dead caps be gone. Let's grab some new ones. We're gonna put some flux on these pads on the board here and put some lower melt solder so that we can use less heat to put our new capacitors on, which should give them a longer lasting life. a little more flex and we'll put those new ones on. Spot on. That looks great. Nice solid joints on there. All nice and lined up. Let's go ahead and replace that Schottky barrier diode that we were talking about. If you were curious, it's got a date code of 1742K on it. Look at how crooked it is. Watch this. No hands. Before we give it a test. That should do. Let's see what we've got now. What do we got? What do we got? Wonderful. That is a wonderful result. We are staying at around, well, under 1 millivolt now. That is spectacular. Let's go ahead and put this back together. And we'll be just about done for the day. right. Let's see what we got.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the Home app.
Very
I'm having
good.
Trouble.
Oh,
I'm having.
come back.
I'm having trouble.
Come back.
I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble.
How do I... Give me those volume
I'm having
buttons,
trouble.
buddy.
I'm having trouble.
How am I having this much trouble?
I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble.
Give me those buttons.
I'm
Give me
having
the
trouble
buttons.
connecting to the internet. For more info,
Give it to me.
I'm having trouble. I'm having.
All right, we'll just give it a... and there they are. And they lit up nice and evenly. Perfect. Well, folks, we got both HomePods sent in today fixed up without a problem. If you guys have any questions about any of the repairs that we did here today or anything about HomePods in general, you're welcome to leave a comment down below. I also have a whole bunch of information and all of the common issues that we typically repair here on the channel on my website, nixfix.com. Head over there, check out the common issues section. If you're trying to do your own repairs, I have known steps to diagnose and repair those issues along with the parts that you may need to do that. I've also got my contact info up on my website if instead of trying it yourself, you'd rather send it in to be repaired here on the channel. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.